Marco Benuelos was one in a million. He was kind-hearted, smart, talented, and passionate about so many different things. One of his biggest passions was his motorcycle. Marco loved to ride. And on July 7th, 2020, Marco's life was devastatingly cut short when a motorist pulled out of a gas station on Foothill in Rochester and struck him. Although his helmet did absorb a lot of the impact, the damage was just too great, and Marco eventually succumbed to his head injuries. California is only one of 19 states that requires their motorcyclists and their passengers to wear helmets at all times when operating a motorcycle or a motorized bicycle. After countless hours of research and my own experience with riding motorcycles, I came here today to not only persuade you, but for you to persuade your own family to wear helmets when going out riding, even if it's just on a bicycle. That way, hopefully, maybe we can get everyone to wear helmets, and the chance of something like what happened to Marco can be greatly reduced. First, I'll explain how a helmet protects you. Then I'll give you statistical evidence to back up why wearing a helmet is so important. And then lastly, if that's not enough to persuade you, I will tell you how riders not wearing the helmets will directly impact your own pockets. First, let's take a look at why a helmet is such a critical protective gear to wear. A helmet will protect you from a number of hazards while you're out on the road. According to Motorcycle Safety Foundation's 2014 article, What You Should Know About Motorcycle Helmets, a motorcycle helmet will protect your eyes, face, and ears from wind blasts and wind noise. This is critical when you're driving at higher speeds and you need to focus on the road and your surroundings, and it also helps reduce fatigue in riders. According to the Motorcycle Safety Foundation, a helmet is made up of 4 main components and has to be checked and verified from the Department of Transportation before it's sold. First, the helmet has an outer shell that's made of microfiber reinforced thermoplastics. This creates a tough exterior that can still compress when given enough impact, and that way the force of impact is distributed throughout the whole helmet instead of just the direct point of impact. On the inside, there is an impact absorbing liner that almost has a styrofoam consistency that will absorb and cushion the shock of impact of the helmet as it hits the ground, but your head still is trying to move forward. On top of your impact absorbing liner, there's going to be a comfort padding that is pretty much going to keep your head in place in the helmet. It's going to be soft, like a cloth foam type layer that keeps your head in place, so whenever you do hit impact, your head's not just like bobbing around inside the helmet. And lastly, of course, the chin strap is very vital, because if you get hit in an accident and you get knocked off your bike and your helmet gets knocked off, then it really defeats the purpose of wearing a helmet to begin with. Although there are some myths that helmets break necks or impair vision or impair hearing, the CDC states in its 2015 article, Universal Helmet Laws, that there is no scientific proof to back up any of these claims. Next, allow me to show you a couple statistics that prove why wearing a helmet is very effective and so important. With the first helmet law being enacted in 1966, it's absolutely insane that only 19 states have passed helmet laws. A motorcycle crash is nothing like a car crash because its riders are so vulnerable. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Association's article, Anatomy of a Motorcycle Crash, what motorcyclists sacrifice in weight, bulk, and protection, they offset with agility, maneuverability, and the ability to stop and swerve quickly. But as we see with Marco's case, these factors aren't always enough to save you. The NHTSA states that 1/3 of motorcycle accidents actually happen when motorists cut in front of motorcyclists. This unpredictability is exactly the reason why wearing a helmet is so vital, because you just never know what's going to happen and you need to be protected at all times. The NHTSA's 2019 article, Lives and Costs Saved by Motorcycle Helmets, states that 5,172 lives were lost in 2017 alone from motorcycle accidents. But because some were wearing their helmets, a whopping 1,872 lives were spared. And not only that, but another 750 could have been spared if they were wearing the helmets. While that may not seem like a huge difference, if your family member or loved one was one of those statistics, it would mean the world. The difference in fatality and injury in states that don't have helmet laws compared to the ones that do is just absolutely astounding. The CDC states that helmet fatalities reduced by 42% and head injuries reduced by 69% when helmet laws are in place. The Safe Roads Organization states in its 2020 article, Motorcycle Helmets, that there are 10 times as many unhelmeted accidents in states without laws than there are in states with laws. While helmet isn't necessarily a complete, seal of protection, your chances of survival are a lot greater with it than without it. Lastly, let's talk about how motorcyclists not wearing their helmets can affect your pockets directly. According to the United States Government Accountability Office's 2012 report, Costs of Motorcycle Crashes to Society and Individuals, their studies show that motorcycle crashes will cumulatively cost $16 billion a year. The NHTSA states that society bears 3/4 of that cost. So this ranges from their victims, the families, the healthcare providers, the insurance companies, governments, and even taxpayers are all affected by this. And the costs come from medical costs, legal fees, court costs of litigations, plus the damage to property and roadways that can occur from accidents. Most of these costs are redirected to the families, but whenever the GOA states that motorcyclists who use Medicaid or other government assistance programs, the government will actually end up eating some of that costs and build a debt, and that in turn is reflected into our own taxes, so our taxes get increased. Whether it was your loved one or not, we're all affected by the costs and effects of motorcycle crashes. In conclusion, when you look at all the benefits and important reasonings behind wearing a helmet, you have to ask yourself, why isn't everyone doing this? A helmet is a motorcyclist's most important protective gear. It's built to keep your head protected enough to withstand a heavy impact without causing too much damage. We've seen the statistics of how greatly the chance of injury and fatality is reduced when you get to wear a helmet. And lastly, the cost of motorcycle crashes affect us all. I didn't lose Marco because he was being reckless on a bike without a helmet. His helmet was on and in great condition. It was just a matter of someone else not paying attention. I just wanted to persuade everyone to wear their helmets so that together we can reduce the risk of having anyone else suffer the same fate.